have key injury updates that we have to get into as the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Jacksonville Jaguars this week, as well as if the Kansas City Chiefs want to advance to 7-2, they better not sleep on this Jacksonville Jaguars team. But before we do get into any of that, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video, as I'm going to keep you up to date on anything Kansas City Chief that you do not want to miss out on. And without further ado, let's have some fun. We are officially here. We are past the midway point of the NFL season. And if you didn't think this season was stressful enough as it is, these games are going to become a lot tighter and a lot closer, and every game is going to matter if it hasn't already. That's why the Kansas City Chiefs cannot sleep on this Jacksonville Jaguars team. And what we're going to do in this video, of course, as we do in every breakdown for every preview of every game and every week, is we're going to go through the injury reports. I'm going to go what the offense can take advantage, what the defense can take advantage of, and how I predict this game coming out. But like I mentioned, this is going to be it's going to be an exciting game, and I think the Jacksonville Jaguars oppose a lot of threats that the Kansas City Chiefs need to watch out for. And without further ado, let's dive right into this injury report. So through 10 weeks of the season, I usually just announce the injury report and the impact and the implication it can have for the game. But this one's going to be kind of different because we might be missing two key players. We know of one for sure, and we're going to get into that. But our offense could be missing two key components, and I'm going to talk about how we can replace them and if it will affect the Kansas City Chiefs offense versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the main one that we're missing is Mecole Hardman. He has been officially ruled out of this game, and not a fun fact because he's missing the game, but something that caught my eye and I wasn't aware of, and I could have sworn he has, but this will be the first game Mecole Hardman has missed in his NFL career, his 3-year NFL career so far, and that kind of caught me off guard because I was just thinking back and I'm like, I swear, I thought he's missed a game, and apparently that is not the case. And now, it depends on who you ask on how this will impact the Kansas City Chiefs offense. I think, in effect, it can have implications for this offense moving into Jacksonville because Mecole Hardman has proven a threat, and he has had production on this offense. Now, you'll have your people who love Mecole, and you'll have your people who hate Mecole on he is not a wide receiver, he is a gadget player. Yes, those Tyreek Hill days where all he does is take jet sweeps, but at the end of the day, they are effective in this offense. So what a lot of people are going to be looking out for. Does this mean it's time for Kadarius Toney to step up? The long-awaited Sky Moore, or even under the radar guy in Justin Watson? And we're going to get into that right now, where I think all three players will have their snap counts increased, and I think that goes without saying with even for Kadarius Toney, and I think he'll be your first guy in line. But I think there's going to be a little silver gray area where he's still got to learn the playbook too. He's not going to have it all down, but his snap count is going to go higher and higher each week. But if he happens to make an explosive play and show he deserves to be on the field sooner rather than later, it's going to be hard to pull him off. So your next guy you're going to be looking at is Sky Moore, the rookie we have all been waiting for. Is this his time to fill a Mecole Hardman spot, which a lot of us expect could happen next year if Mecole leaves us in free agency? That can be something here too. I see the snap count increasing, the production. I'm at the point where I'm going to have to see it to believe it. I think this is going to be a quiet off year. Yes, he will be on the field, and I think he will have his explosive plays going down the road into December and playoff football time. I just don't think it'll be like a high impact type of thing. Like, we're not going to see 6 catches for 60 yards. He might have 2 catches for 20 yards and then hope that roll increase. But my guy I think we need to really watch out for in this game is Justin Watson. Every time he has been on the field, he has proven he deserves to be on the field, and he proved it against Tennessee with some key clutch catches. Mahomes really loves him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he fills the Mecole Hardman role this week. I think a lot of people want to see Toney fill that just because maybe kind of similar players that you would compare in an aspect, but if you want production, I don't know. I feel like Justin Watson fits that role perfectly, and I think this is what you kind of brought him in for is, hey, fill in when someone gets injured, and you are a key number 6 receiver going forward too. But it's going to be interesting to watch this position. I think these 3 guys will have their snap counts increased. It's just who's going to see the ball. I know the exciting player all of us want to see is Kadarius Toney. I am with you. The kid is elusive. He is shifty. He even proved it on his snaps that he was out there. And he proves he wants to be on the field, whether it be trying to get the football or making key blocks in the running game. You guys saw him laying out linebackers. He deserves to be on the field. It's just how much the playbook he is getting down. I think the guy we got to watch out for in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's heavily evolved, is Justin Watson. And now moving forward, we're going to still focus on this injury report because we kind of got a surprise injury that kind of, like I mentioned, caught us all off guard. And it was Jerick McKinnon. And I can't really tell you what's injured because it seems like his whole body is sore. I think it mentioned knee, ankle, and shoulder. So that's basically covering the majority of your body. And he's questionable going into Sunday. So huge. I think Jerick McKinnon is probably the best back on the roster, whether it be running the ball, receiving the ball, or your most explosive back. I think he's the one who is proven where once he has the ball in his hands, he is going to be a key component in the running game. And I think it is crucial that he be out there. But if not, a lot of fans are clamoring, and myself included, but not at a high standard as everyone else is it time to elevate Ronald Jones and see what he got? And I did mention it on Twitter as well. It's like, is it time? Even if Jerick McKinnon was healthy, do you have one of these other backs being active? You see what Ronald Jones brings to this team. I get it that Ronald Jones didn't basically prove himself in preseason. And, well, he did in the final game, but in training camp as well. But there's something to say that he is still on this roster, and he still has a contract that holds a lot of his incentives as well. And I just don't see the Kansas City Chiefs basically having him as inactive every week, regardless of injury or not. I believe he is bigger than an insurance policy. I might be the only one to believe that, but at the end of the day, the way this Kansas City Chiefs run game has been, it's been very inconsistent, if not worse than inconsistent. They have struggled a few weeks. Now, yes, you can blame the running backs and you can blame the O-line. Both have a hand in this as well, and both need to step their game up. I do expect the running game to try to get rolling in this game, because last thing you want to see is Mahomes slinging the ball for almost 70 times a game. So I definitely expect Coach Reed to implement the run game. It's just going to be a question on who has their hand in the pot this week. If Jerick McKinnon isn't a go, it'll still be three-headed monster with Pacheco, CEH, and then I believe Ronald Jones gets elevated too. But also, I did see reports too, and it's just rumors. That's all it is. But at the end of the day, don't forget we got Wayne Gallman, who was a former running back on the Giants too, and if he gets elevated, he might. Because he produces an asset into the special teams role too. So that's more than what Ronald Jones does. So don't be surprised there. I think it would rub Ronald Jones the wrong way, but at the end of the day, I think if you were to ask me on how I view this running back room, it's, of course, you got your three clear starters. If you needed to rotate a guy in, it would be Ronald Jones. And I think at the end of the day, like I mentioned, what could happen if you bring Ronald Jones in if you give him the same amount of carries as a Pacheco or a CEH or a Jerick McKinnon? At the end of the day, our running backs aren't seeing the ball enough as it is. But if he was to see the same carries, I'm not going to say he's going to go nuts. Honestly, we don't even have our future back on the roster, if you ask me. I believe Pacheco will be on the team, but is he your starting running back moving forward? The verdict is out on that. I don't think our starting running back is here. All I'm asking is just for a little juice, a spark, and maybe Ronald Jones can provide that. I'm not saying Ronald Jones is going to go for 100 yards, but what I'm saying is if he could bust some runs and give some life to this offense, that would be great. Damn. I would even say the same for Gallman. If you elevate Gallman and he starts busting runs and he gives a spark, I'm ecstatic with that too. All I know is I want to see life in this running game, and it's something that's been missing in the last few weeks. Again, yes, the offensive line has a say in this. The running backs have a say in it, and so does coaching. Coaching is the number one, the number one thing I think that kills the running game completely is you're not scheming these running backs to succeed. And when you don't do that, it's a failure all around. So it's going to be interesting to see coming into Jacksonville what running backs are active, if Jerick McKinnon is active, and how heavily they produce in the running game against the Jaguars. I think they will try to get it going, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. Now, as we focus on the game in general, the first part of the game we're going to focus on is the offense taking on this Jacksonville Jaguars defense. And the number one thing that poses a threat to me is Josh Allen versus this Kansas City Chiefs O-line, in particular, Orlando Brown Jr. Orlando Brown Jr. has to have one of his best games against Josh Allen. Guys, this ain't the time where we're going to play like Josh Allen isn't a good pass rusher just because he isn't a Kansas City Chief. This guy is disruptive. Yes, he may not be elite, but he has proven he can win games, and he's proven it against elite competition in the Buffalo Bills. If you let this guy get going and disrupt the game all day long, kind of like what the Tennessee Titans did against Mahomes, but Mahomes, he is elite and he finds a way to win the game. But if Josh Allen is disruptive throughout the game, it's going to be a long game like the Titans game where Mahomes is going to have to find an answer. We need these boys on the O-line to step up because this is the last thing you want to see. And also, I would love to see this offense get to clicking again because even when they won the game, it was basically just Mahomes basically putting the team on his back and his legs doing the thing. I don't need to see Mahomes throwing the ball 70 times. I don't need to see Mahomes rushing for almost 70 yards either. Is it fun? Yes. But that's also wear and tear coming late into the season. I need to see consistency on this offense, and I need to see key things stepping up. And that's why I would love to see the running game get going in this game. Also, the Jacksonville Jaguars have I would say, like top 12 run defense, so they're not going to be easy to run on. But again, as I mentioned time in and time out, just because you can't run on a team doesn't mean they cannot get got against your running backs. They may be good at stopping the run, but what they struggle at is running backs who are good in the receiving game. And that's where a lot of our running backs excel in. If Jerick McKinnon is healthy, he's good there. CEH, that's one of his key assets in the game, and Pacheco too. You get these receiving backs going, it's basically a long handoff that you can take advantage of. If Ronald Jones is elevated, that is not a key component of his game, unfortunately, but you can see if he can pound and if he can break something and if his speed can elevate to the next level. This running game needs to be a key component because if it's not, it could be a long day. But also, too, the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, they're mid-tier. They can get got as well, and when you're facing an elite quarterback as Patrick Mahomes, it's time to have fun. And as I mentioned in the injury report, it's going to be interesting to see who fills in for Mecole Hardman, whether it be Kadarius Toney's snaps elevating to the next extent, or if it's Sky Moore playing more, or if it's Justin Watson. One of those boys are going to have to step up and show that this offense will not miss a beat. It's going to be one of those games where, and they have proven themselves, when they played the Chargers, they bounced back and scored 40 points. When they played the Colts, they bounced back and scored 40 points against the Buccaneers. When they had now a low outing against the Tennessee Titans, it's time to show yourself, and I believe they will. I'm hoping they score more than 30 points and this offense gets rolling, and it's the offense we need to see because this is a huge game. Because just because Jacksonville is 3-6, surprisingly enough, they're still fighting for playoff life too. And 4-6 looks way better than 3-7. And Tennessee also has a huge opponent as well next week this weekend where they can lose, and that division can be wide open. Jacksonville is fighting for a loss. Yes, their record may not be the best, but they have proven this season that they can look good, and they have proven this season that they can look bad. The Kansas City Chiefs offense needs to show the Jacksonville Jaguars that they are about to look bad this week. Now we're flipping sides of the ball, and we're going to focus on the Kansas City Chiefs defense taking on this Jacksonville Jaguars. And honestly, I might sound crazy to y'all right now, but I think the Jacksonville Jaguars offense poses more threats than the Tennessee Chiefs. Wow, that's how you combine two words. But the Tennessee Titans offense posed against this Kansas City Chiefs defense. The Tennessee Titans offense didn't really have that many weapons. And you may say the Jacksonville Jaguars don't either. But they have an elusive running back in their own, a young stud in Travis Etienne, who has 5 consecutive 100-yard games, who is great in the rushing game and also in the receiving game. And it's someone you need to put a cap on early and hope he doesn't go for his 600th-yard game. And I think, honestly, again, something that may shock you guys more than it would shock me is I'm more concerned about Travis Etienne than Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry, we know the Tennessee Titans put their whole offense around him. Travis Etienne is just a part. The Tennessee Titans, I'm all jumbled. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they have receiving threats as well. They put money into Christian Kirk this offseason, Zay Jones as well, and Marvin Jones. They got receivers that the secondary needs to be clutch against, but I'm not doubting this defense whatsoever, because even though they were going against no names against the Tennessee Titans, They played magnificent football in the second half, and that is going to be my only thing I'm going to throw at them against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Play a full 4 quarters. If you play a full 4 quarters of what you did against the Tennessee Titans in the second half, this won't even be a game. And I see the key pieces coming together on this defense as well, and it is looking exciting. If they start playing smash mouth, shut down football, this is going to be fun. The main question coming into last week was, what kind of pass rush will we establish with the likes of Frank Clark being out? And honestly, it looked very, very good in the second half. Now, I know a lot of y'all will be saying, that was against Malik Willis. He's a rookie quarterback, second start, under the lights in Arrowhead. I completely get that. And Trevor Lawrence, he might be a different kind of threat too as well. The Jacksonville Jaguars are such a weird team. They can play A-plus football, and then they can play worse than mediocre ball where it won't even be a game. But if, let's say Trevor Lawrence is on his best game, you have to get after him because he looks like he was in Clemson. He is throwing darts, and if you don't get no pressure on him, he can have a day in himself. So I expect the lights of a Chris Jones, of a Carlos Dunlap, of a George Karlaftis to get back there. The main thing that's going to be most successful in this is what kind of schemes does Spags draw to. And also, we saw the lights of a Colin Saunders show up. I would play that boy a lot more. He has deserved these snaps. Him and Nick Bolton are going to be the ones that shut down this running game and show Jacksonville, hey, throw the ball against us. And that's what I want to see. I want to see Trevor Lawrence try to beat us in the air game because I think Jacksonville, if they're successful in the run game against us, it can be a long game for the Kansas City Chiefs. But if you force Trevor Lawrence to throw the ball, I'm taking our secondary. Trent McDuffie was back, and he looked great. Yes, he has only played 45 snaps, but no one has caught a pass on him, and he is showing out, and he looks like a promising rookie that is about to have an island named after him. And what I loved what the Kansas City Chiefs did there was they played him outside, and it was more rotational, but Snead played a lot of outside as well, and Snead was locking his guys down at 2. And then it was a rotation between Williams and Watson, and then Watson got hurt too, which kind of interesting in my aspect. I don't know if it has anything to do with injury, but I thought Watson would be getting majority of the snaps because he has been a star himself in this season. But hey, rotation as well gets Williams mature quicker too, so it's going to be interesting to see moving forward, and this is going to be a big test. This is different than the Tennessee Titans wide receivers. These Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm not going to say they're elite. I'm not going to say they're great, but it's definitely a notch higher than what they were going against in the Tennessee Titans. So I'm excited to see the likes of a Trent McDuffie taking on a Christian Kirk because at the end of the day, Christian Kirk, we not raved about him, but we were on his head like he doesn't deserve that bag. And honestly, this year, he's played one of his better seasons. So I think that would be a good matchup. And then you got Snead going against one of the Joneses, and both Joneses can they can take the top off, and they are physical receivers as well. This receiving core in the Jacksonville Jaguars, they can show some issues that the Kansas City Chiefs need to lock down. It's going to be fun, and I think this game is going to be very interesting, but I can see where Kansas City can dominate this game on the defensive side of the ball. Now the key phase of the game, and who would have thought it, but it has been the one that basically detour most of our games this year, and it is special teams. And special teams almost had a huge deciding factor in the Tennessee Titan game as well. I do not know what's going on with Harrison Butker. He did mention this week he wasn't 100%, which is kind of weird to me because if I recall, the week before he said he was 100%. So I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully, I don't want to say get right because at the end of the day, if he's not healthy, that's kind of messed up for me to say. But these kicks, they're crucial. Like, he left 4 points on the board last week, and if any points you leave on the board can be very crucial in any type of game. So hopefully Butker is feeling healthy and he is feeling right and he is looking himself. Because at the end of the day, healthy or not, Butker has always struggled with extra points, which kind of baffles me. Like, really, this kid could drill 70-yard field goals but struggles on a 30-yard extra point. So I don't know what goes on, what his thought process is on extra points, or if it is there, but it's something we need to buckle down on because this has been one of Butker's worst years while he's been on the field. So hopefully we could turn that around. Hopefully he is feeling himself because I don't want to be that kind of ass to be like, hey, make these kicks and he's not healthy. At the end of the day, if he's not healthy, I think that's something that needs to be also said to the coaches, and Kansas City needs to get another kicker because this week Matthew Wright was stolen by the Pittsburgh Steelers, so that's someone you can't bring back either. So special teams needs to get their act right because that's just something that's been a plague to us this year, and that's something that's not new to us because Dave Toub coached special teams are usually great, and that's not been the story this year as well. And now we got to focus back on punt returns because with the lights of Mecole Hardman out, a lot of Chiefs Kingdom ain't going like this. Does that mean Sky Moore takes that back? Or does that mean Kadarius Toney fills that role? We even saw Justin Watson return a punt last week. Or do we keep a rotation? It's going to be interesting to see how special teams plays against this Jacksonville Jaguars team because at the end of the day, I hate to say it, this is a phase that can change the game quickly, and it's something that needs to be on their P's and Q's because if not, it can affect the game, and hopefully it doesn't end up crucial in crucial moments. So special teams is something I will definitely have my eyes on. But in this game in a whole, I think the Kansas City Chiefs will win this game, and I think they need to be locked in and win this game because they got a huge matchup against the LA Chargers on Sunday night next week. And the Chargers play the San Francisco 49ers. That means I am a Niners fan this week as well because division is coming down and it's going to be mid-November by the time we play each other, and we will only have, 5-6 weeks left, and we are one game apart. I would love to see the Chargers lose, and then I would love to see the Kansas City Chiefs win going into Sunday night. And if the Kansas City Chiefs can sweep the Chargers and then they move to 8-2, you feel way more comfortable with this division. So Kansas City definitely needs to be locked in against the Jacksonville Jaguars, or this can be an easy trap game if they're thinking ahead, but I don't think they are. And if I had to put a prediction, I'm not going to give you a final score, but I do think the Kansas City Chiefs will be running on full cylinders. And let's just say I expect the offense to be running, and I expect the defense to be doing their thing, and I expect 30-plus points, and I expect the Jaguars to try to keep up, but they won't. With that, Chiefs Kingdom, you let me know how you're feeling against this Jacksonville Jaguars team. I think it's going to be a fun game. It could be a stressful one because it's our Kansas City Chiefs, and they are known for giving us stressful games no matter who we play. But at the end of the day, I think we're walking home with the W. You let me know how you feel with that. I am checking out. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel and give me that big thumbs up and like this video. Y'all take care. Peace.